Hi family, Miss B here. Just wanted to touch base with you all about the upcoming elections and why it's so important. Now I know we passed the deadline for new people to register to vote, but for those who are registered, my recommendation is that you go vote. I know that, and we all know actually, that the presidential position is pretty much a figurehead, a puppet, a spokesperson, and he works for people who are pretty much controlling him. But the major importance of the elections is those positions at your local level. Not just your representatives in Congress, your senators and your state reps. They're critical too, but your city council, your county commission, your mayors, even to the point of your governors, the election boards, the postmaster general, the constables, the sheriffs, all of those local positions. Those are the people that decide the day-to-day stuff in your city where you live. Trump doesn't come down and decide what happens in, Johntown, USA somewhere. Now, he can send out some edicts, but most states have laws that allow them certain autonomy. The Constitution built in as well certain autonomy for the states over the federal government. So, and some states actually have exercised that in various things that you've seen throughout the news. But the vote is important at the local level. Your judges. We talk about how so many people get arrested, or what's big in the news now, so many black people are getting shot by police, or police are doing things and they're getting away with it, or there's a sham of a trial, etc., etc. Well, guess who elects the DA? You do. Guess who elects those judges? You do. And judges, DAs have the discretion to press charges or not. Judges have the discretion throughout the entire trial what to let into evidence, what not to let into evidence, who to believe, who not to believe. And you've got two opposing sides. You've got prosecutorial and you've got defendant, and they're in the judges' chambers and they're arguing about what evidence is going to be admitted. Well, the judge makes that decision. So if there's evidence that's not being introduced, or evidence that's being introduced that shouldn't have been, etc., etc., you allowed it when you did not go out and vote that judge out of office. When the DA refuses to press charges for, whatever the situation, you allowed it when you did not go out and vote in a DA that has more of your interest at heart. So, there's the CPS, the family law situations where kids are being snatched left and right. And in some cases, CPS does, have they're necessary. But by the same token, the whole CPS, and this is a separate video, is being used as a money machine for the local states to meet their budgets. And they're pulling the money through feds and Social Security and everything else. So when CPS comes and, comes at your door, and before you know it, you're in front of the judge, etc., etc., and the state or whomever CPS is representing keeps giving foolishness, and this caseworker's not here today, so the evidence is not here, and the judge keeps resetting. In the meantime, your life is in turmoil while you're going through this process. How about go and vote in some more family-friendly judges that are not on the take, that are using their heads, that will not allow CPS to just drag through somebody's life for a year or two and, have the kids all injected up with all kinds of medicines and stuff like that, and given all kinds of pills and made crazy, if you will. That's on you. Every single one of you who want to sit back and complain, the police ain't doing nothing, you need to go vote in the correct police chief. You need to go vote in the correct sheriffs and constables. So when we sit back and don't do that, I can see now how, I think it was maybe about 20 years ago, early 2000s, there was a campaign running around saying vote or die. Well, it comes down to it. We did not collectively, and I say collectively because there were a couple little local elections that I missed as well. Most of them I try to get though, but there were some that I missed. We did not go and vote locally for the police chiefs, for the sheriffs, for the judges, and all these local positions. We didn't do that. We went to work. We're not going to lose our little $200-300 for the day. Well, we got that $200-300 for that day that we went to, that we chose not to go vote. But what's happening? What is happening? Our people are getting killed left and right. We're losing in various litigations all over the place. Why? Because our rights are being infringed upon. Our constitutional rights are being infringed upon. Not just the federal constitution, but your state constitution gives you a whole lot of rights as well that most of us don't take into consideration. And that's being taken advantage of. So in essence, you are dying. Your prosperity is dying. Your potential is dying. And every time they do one of these crazy things to infringe upon your rights, a little piece of you dies. So when they said vote or die 20 years ago, I see what they meant. And I bring that back up now. Vote or die. If you don't want to die, you don't want your kids to die, you don't want your dreams to die, you don't want your prosperity to die, all the work that you put in to get wherever it is you want to go, whatever your goals are, if you don't want that to die, then you need to get your butt up and go out there and vote. And when you do it, take your neighbor with you, take your grandma with you, take as many people you can fit in your car, take them with you. It's okay to lose a day's pay for what you want in the long run. That's called deferred gratification. I will lose $300 for working one day so that I can have my rights in the long term for the next 3 years, 4 years, 2 years, whatever term period that particular person or those officers are in. Think of the bigger picture. Stop thinking of the here and now, of the today. That's my little spiel for the whole voting. And again, this is my focus is the local elections, the city, state, county stuff. Federal, presidential, we know it's a sham. You got the electoral college situation. You've got, we think back to what happened, I want to say 2000 with Bush and Al Gore and the whole Florida situation. It was a sham. Everybody knew it. But I'd been telling a friend of mine, and I'd been having conversations a couple years prior, me being in technology and also being security conscious, when things started rolling out with that electronic voting, I could immediately see the potential to be able to rig those votes back then. And if I had him here with me, we'd have that discussion again, and he'll probably say to you, yep, you sure were right. You called it way back then. But we see the federal elections are a sham. There's been discussion on both sides, even from Trump himself. 1 minute, do away with the electoral college, and when it works in his favor, no, keep the electoral college. So that's not my concern. Again, the local elections are what you're concerned about. They call them the midterm elections, where you vote your representatives, your senators, your state house representatives. You vote. And mind you, those representatives don't just represent you in Washington. They represent you at your local state. So when there's a new law that's being drafted for your local state, it applies to your state only. Guess who's sitting in the Capitol in your state voting on that law? Those same representatives. Excuse me. So it's important. It's very important. And I say again, you vote today. Well, not today, but between now and the actual election, and some states have early voting. You vote now or you die in the long run. That's what it comes down to. And the reality is, we didn't vote, and how many of our people have died, lost their lives, because we did not stand up soon enough and vote in correct people who would not allow certain policies and certain procedures to go on. We left them in office, and we're watching the police just rummage through our communities. That's not the correct word. We're watching the police just shoot our people down dead. We're watching regular citizens shoot our people down dead. We're watching Becky's all over the place calling the police on our folk, hoping to incite some kind of foolishness. Why? Because we chose not to vote. Oh no, it's a sham. We chose to ignore the situation, and now we've got a daggone runaway train that we can stop, or at least slow it down significantly, so that we can grab a hold of something and eventually put some brakes on. We're not doing that. So That being the case, I'm done. I'm out. Like I said, vote or die. Peace.